Derick Giwner, joined by Jay Bergman to talk about an exciting Meadowlands Pace night, specifically the Meadowlands Pace, $650,000 on the line on Saturday, July 13th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. We're going to have everything right here for you on DRF. We'll have free harness IPPs, and most importantly, you'll see a QR code on your screen, 7% rebate via DRF bets. You can't get much better than that, Jay. I mean, that's almost beating the casino rate.
It's a great, but it's an action-packed night of racing, and there's going to be some competitive racing on Saturday night for sure.
We're going to dig into the Meadowlands Pace because that's the marquee event on the card. 10 horses are going to go behind the gate, and this really is one of the best-looking fields we've seen, Jay.
There's no question about it. I mean, there's depth, there's quality, there's horsemanship. But I think last week's elimination showed that there's a lot of horses that can go the distance and can compete, and I think we're going to see a great race.
Why don't we take a look at the replays from last week, because that's where the action really occurred first. And here we see the first elim, and this basically was a lineup race, Jay. They walked around 1 through 8.
I think it's a lot of people, saw the power on the inside and just didn't contend with it, didn't want to take any chances. And, that included, Legendary Hanover and the Captain's Quarters, who's in 4th right now. Legendary Hanover had a perfect 3-0 trip. It improved when Dexter Dunn pulled with Gem Quality, and he finished it off, which, I don't know what you can gain from this race. I mean, when they sprint home in 25 seconds, almost all these horses have that capability. So it was a good race. It was a good prep, but I don't know what you can take from it. I didn't take a whole lot from it.
Well, what do you look at it and say, listen, the top 4 were pretty close together, and any of those 4 technically have a chance?
No. Actually, I have to go before that race to look to what chance they had. I mean, Mirage Hanover, Gem Quality. I'm kind of lukewarm on both of those. They neither made the North American Cup final, so I question whether they're really of that level. And like I say, Captain's Quarters show that he can go with these horses in the North American Cup, as clearly Legendary Hanover did, except he had a bad trip in that race. So, as far as Legendary and Captain's Quarters, yes. As far as Mirage and Gem Quality, I don't know what I got from them.
Why don't we take a look at the second elimination? We're going to cut into that one a little bit early because there was a lot of action, and we're picking it up here with Captain Albano moving to the lead, and then following him on the outside, we have Nijinsky.
It's funny. The first race was a walkathon, and this race was just action packed from start to finish. 2 moves on, with long shots making 2 moves, then favorites having to make 2 moves. And the interesting part of that is just how good Louis Philippe Roy was with Nijinsky, not panicking in the least, just following the flow. Dexter Dunn, again, a great drive, first time with Funtime Bayama. But, in the end, what I saw here was 2 horses that matched up equally or fairly equally in Canada. Again, now given the chance, it again was Nijinsky saying, you can't beat me this year. Maybe last year you can beat me every race, but this year I don't want to get past, and I want to pass everybody. And that was a takeaway I got from that. Obviously, another thing was third place finisher Captain Albano took a few bad steps in the stretch, recovered. I thought he was good that he recovered and didn't get past. I don't know why he lost track of the leaders in the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to driver Todd McCarthy about it a little bit, and he's like, I really don't know what happened either. Maybe he was just pacing too fast and, caught his knee or something like that. But you have to be encouraged by the fact that he was able to gain back his stride and was gaining towards the end of the mile, right?
As far as the horse is concerned, he's had a litany of excuses, you might say. I just think the unfortunate part with him and even with Todd's drives is that, I think because of the favoritism or the closely, he's been compelled to be aggressive with the horse. He was aggressive in the North American Cup. I think to some degree it cost him because he was over-aggressive early, and then he ended up in a compromised position. And even last week, you were looking for an easy trip with him, and he ended up getting a really tough trip, multiple moves. And then the incident in the stretch. So, I mean, as far as ability, yes, luck, and now post position, I don't know that they're in his favor.
Also coming out of that elimination was Captain Luke, who left to the front, got shuffled all the way to the back, gained mildly in the stretch. Is that kind of a fool's gold kind of effort where it looks like, oh, he had a trouble trick, but, he's just not good enough?
I think you have to just change the venue from elimination to final. Scott Zeron, stuck with the horse, and he knew he had to get. And the only way he can get into the final is if he blasted from the outside. So I think that was a calculated risk he took. That again, it sort of backfired. He got shuffled out, but the horse was good. But now he's outside again, and now they're going for money, and nobody's just going to give you the right of way to get the lead in this one. In elimination, I think, a lot of guys were a little conservative at the start. Scott was aggressive. It helped. I think being aggressive in the final is going to get Captain Luke Park the mile. So I don't think Scott will be.
Well, let's talk a little bit of strategy. When I look at this race on paper, I'm thinking Captain Albano from the 7, Captain Luke from the 8, and Captain's Quarters from the 9 all have to be leaving the gate to some extent. To me, Captain Albano may be a little bit more of a float effort, but the other two have to leave if they want to be into it, no?
We're on different wavelengths here, Derick. And I got to say, I think that entering the North America Cup, I thought Anthony Beaton had the best horses. Entering the Meadowlands Pace, I'm certain he has the best horses in the 2 elimination winners, Nijinsky and Legendary Hanover. And I think because of that, in the North America Cup, they made a mistake. Legendary Hanover couldn't get out of the gate, ended up getting floated out, and now he helped his entry mate Nijinsky, but he definitely was compromised himself by the trip. I said, why end up racing from off the pace a second time when you're going for big money? To me, they both have speed. They both have outstanding speed. Why not take control of the race right into the first turn, get rid of everyone else and say, hey, let's just go around 1-2 and let Legendary Hanover pick up a better check this time around, because I don't know why they'd be playing, especially Legendary Hanover had the easy trip last week, so there's no reason why he can't be aggressive. And even though Nijinsky had a tougher trip, he's just been the best horse out there, regardless of what he did as a 2-year-old. I think we have to throw the 2-year-old races off the page now. You have to say whatever you've seen in Nijinsky this year has been fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I wasn't necessarily on the Nijinsky bandwagon, but he kind of won me over a little bit last week. My problem with Nijinsky here is I think he's going to be 4-5, and I don't think he's worth a 4-5 price in a field like this.
I could see him being 4-5. I could see maybe not, because there are other horses, there are other drivers. It's not, certainly Fun Time by Ama's got to take money second time in Andy Harris's barn, and he raced great in his first race for Andy Harris. So I don't know why he wouldn't take money. 4-5, yeah, I guess it's possible. But, like I said, they've got the power. And, at this point, I feel like as good as some of these other horses were, the distance between North American Cup and now, and you see the improvement, you see the horse getting better. I mean, nothing that he did last week was anything other than sensational. I mean, I think if he had a 2-year-old resume, they'd be talking about him as the next great horse. I mean, they'd be talking about him in the Tall, Dark Stranger category right now, given the kind of races he's put in. So, I can't get off the bandwagon. Louis Ra has been impressive to me in all situations. He seems like he handles the pressure very, very well, as does James McDonald for that matter. They were both very cool last week, despite different trips. And I don't see why they won't be cool. And I see they've got the power. I just don't know why they would give up that power. And I think the problem with Captain Albano, from my point of view, is he's been over-aggressive many times already this year. Can he really take a chance on 2 moves from post 7 going for this kind of money? I mean, I'm kind of thinking he's going to be a little shy.
Maybe he will be a little shy. It's possible. I mean, he's been unlucky with the trips, and yes, at some point you have to start thinking, what do we start doing? Do we start saying, listen, this horse is never going to get lucky? Why don't we take a look at our picks, and you'll see that I actually did pick Captain Albano, and my viewpoint is definitely, it's just price-based. I feel like I'm going to get a much better price on him than I think he should be, because of what happened in the elimination, because he took the bad step or ran into his knee or whatever it is, whatever the cause is. He paced home strong. To me, I saw a horse that's still every bit as good as any of these horses in my mind. And I think I'm probably going to get 6-1 on this horse. And to me, that's really good value. Underneath, I went with Mirage Hanover. This is a little bit of a stretch maybe, but here I see a horse that's just as fast as any horse closing off a helmet. And on the lead, he couldn't quite get the job done, couldn't sprint quite as fast, having to set the pace. I could see a situation here where he's following either a Nijinsky or a Fun Time by Ama and sitting a decent trip, and he's going to be a huge price, double digits for sure. And I respect Nijinsky, how to put him on the ticket. Obviously, he could win. I just don't want, a short price.
Listen, I'm never a fan of a short price, and but I don't want to be blind to what I've actually seen, and I think it's one of those things in looking for a price, and I tried to look for a price, just like you. I just said I can't be blind to what I've actually seen this horse do. Versatile, has the speed, seems like he wants to win races, and I thought Captain's Quarters going into North America Cup was, if he was last year's Captain's Quarters, I said why can't he win the race, but. In the end, he just didn't get it done, and I kind of wonder. I think he's the wild card in the race, to be honest with you, because of all the horses that could leave. Jody's coming down from Canada. It's a one-drive night for him. What am I going to do? I'm just going to pull back and sit ninth, or am I going to go for the gusto here? So I think Jody's the wild card as far as the price is concerned with Captain's Quarters, because I think he actually has the talent if he can get the trip. I don't know if he can get the trip from the 9-0, but I kind of think he's going to be the over-aggressive one in the group as opposed to Scott Zeron or Todd McCarthy this week, because I think they've both been aggressive. So that's my call. I don't have Captain's Quarters on the ticket, but if I could see something happening outside of my original prediction, I could see Captain's Quarters having an impact on the race.
100%. If Captain's Quarters had drawn inside, he definitely would have been on my ticket. And a little bit of a story, I had spoken to trainer Herb Holland about the horse, and he almost didn't race in this elimination. He had kicked the stall, got his foot caught in it. He was lame for a couple of days. They didn't know if they were going to enter him, and then it turned out that he was good enough to go in the race. So he's expecting the horse to be a little bit better for the final. If Jameson could work out the trip, I don't see any reason why this horse couldn't win, and I think the price would be reasonable on this one, and you should certainly bet it via DRF bets with the QR code that's on the screen, 7% rebate. Jay, is there anything else on the card that you'd be looking to play?
I got to say, I like the card a lot, but I think it's very tough in a lot of races. I'm looking forward to one race, a Mistletoe Charlie race, obviously with my girl EJ, and It's a Love Thing, and Geocentric. Some of last year, a few of last year's best and a few of this year's best. I think that's going to be an exciting race. I'm sorry, it's the Mistletoe Charlie. It's now the Jerry Silverman Memorial, and I think it's going to be a great race. I can't say I have any great wisdom on who's going to win the race. I think my girl EG comes into it well, but I think she's also going to be a chalk horse.
Well, we got 6:20 post time on Saturday, July 13th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. There are 14 races on the card. I believe 11 of them are stakes races. There's a $50,000 guaranteed pick 4. And there's also a $100,000 guaranteed 4 that ends in race 11, which is the Meadowlands Pace. Good luck.